Ahoy, ahoy, and welcome to the newest edition of the Ramble on Reactions. With me is Handsome Dan Nye.
And that's Clever Eric Muller.
Thank you. And we are here to react to the newest movie from Fox, the newest X-Men movie, X-Men Apocalypse. Before we go into my thoughts, Dan, I am curious about what you think about this movie.
I like it when you immediately throw it to me because this is something we like to do as well, where we don't discuss our thoughts on it until we're actually discussing our thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. So this is literally the first time we've talked about this topic, and then we're also going to, after we record
for
days. So after this, we're also going to go record our regular Rotten, and it may not be as long as a normal one, but generally, I didn't hate the movie. Mm-hmm. I liked it more than Batman vs Superman, not as much as Civil War, but I've been hearing lots of mixed things about it. For me personally, I always go into X-Men films with very low expectations. Ever since we got The Last Stand, I've been like, well, now I'm just kind of on the franchise. And so going into, I didn't see First Class in the theaters, and I was, blown away by that. And then Days of Future Past, I felt like was a good addition onto that and, retconning the whole series. And then this, I was like, it's a thing. It definitely has its moments. But what are your thoughts? I'm rambling a bit.
After I got done watching this movie, the only thing that came to my mind is okay, sometimes when you really like an artist or a band, you follow them for a long time. And then you get excited when they're like, oh, here's a new album coming out. And you're all excited. It's a new album. It looks great. Then you find out it's a greatest hits album. You're like, okay. And they throw in some new stuff, but it's mostly just greatest hits. But it's the extended cuts of the songs you already like. Even though you heard them in the past, you don't need to really hear them again and have them that much longer. That's how I felt after seeing X-Men Apocalypse.
I can totally buy that.
I literally was walking out of the theaters I don't want to admit I might have liked Batman v Superman more than this.
See, I like this more. But they are
at the same level almost for me, because my problem with this movie was it was not original. It was not an original movie at all. And all the extra characters, all the new characters they give you, they're just thrown in there, and a lot of them don't even really do anything. Like the Horsemen don't add anything to this movie. You could take out 3 of them, and you'd still have a solid movie. Because the best part of this movie wasn't the villain of Apocalypse, which is a shame, because I love Oscar Isaac.
I will totally agree with that.
But it is... I'm slipping on his name right now. Fassbender, yeah. Michael Fassbender was amazing in this movie. His character arc and everything, you really feel for his character, and that's great, but then the movie just wastes everything that's built up.
I totally agree with that Fassbender was probably the best part of this movie. However, I agree with it, but I was disappointed with how it turned out, because I felt like once you get to that third act, I was disappointed with where they took Fassbender, because it's like you start this arc and it's so great and he's so lost, and then it just kind of fizzles.
Literally, the movie could have just been Magneto teaming up with Apocalypse, and that would have been a better movie.
It would have been a much better movie. And to go back on what you said, you know X-Men comic books fairly well, I'm guessing more than I do. So, in my opinion, I wasn't a big fan of Apocalypse. I like the character of Apocalypse, and I love Oscar Isaac, but when you put the two together and what we got on screen, I was really underwhelmed.
I was underwhelmed too, because also, again, Apocalypse is one of those villains where you can't just do a single shot with. He is his own trilogy. I feel like maybe this is a little bit of the studio interference telling Singer he needs to do Apocalypse for this movie.
We've done 8 movies. You gotta throw an Apocalypse on.
And that's the other thing. We need to move on with Bryan Singer. Just like J-Lo's performance, you can tell she doesn't care anymore. He's starting to not care anymore.
The thing I found funny about that, and that's a big critique of a lot of things, and one thing I did notice in the movie was you get a lot of J-Law, and you don't get a lot of Mystique, but you also get next to no Mystique action.
No.
There is she doesn't do much
at all. No, maybe once, twice.
But the only other things I will say, this movie did have some high points. The build up with Magneto is fantastic.
Yes.
His reintroduction, I legit almost cried in the movie while I was watching it.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
And I really liked the sequence at Alkali Lake. I was a fan of that.
I know. I just wish they didn't tip the hand.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. I'm trying not to do the spoilers well, because we're doing that.
Here's the thing. It's given in the trailer, so we can say a little bit, because that's when Wolverine shows up. And going into that scene in the movie, I knew exactly what was coming up once it goes there. If they didn't tip their hat with that, it would have, I think, helped the viewing process, because it would have helped pump you up and be like, oh, what's this?
But
as opposed to, oh yeah, I saw this in the trailer. Okay, moving on.
But like those two scenes, the Quicksilver scene, he's still hands down the most interesting character in these films, and he's much better utilized in this film than he was the last one. Last one was just kind of like, you're gone, bye. And
yeah, this time they actually use him, but my problem was that sequence was about 2 minutes too long, and it doesn't really add anything to the movie. Yeah, it's unnecessary.
It's Quicksilver ex machina.
Right, it's pretty much Bryan Singer was told, do another Quicksilver sequence, and this is the best he could do.
It's very much retconned. I found myself, and like I said, because I have such low expectations for the X-Men films, I found myself enjoying it. Mm-hmm. Personally, I'm going to give this film a B-, which I think is just above where I put Batman vs Superman. Where are you going to put it?
C-.
C-? Oh, so you really didn't like it?
Yeah, it's right about where I put Batman v Superman.
So it was a hair better for me, but it's still like it was a little sloppy. And the third act, we're not going to spoil it, but the third act just felt like a kitchen sink.
Oh yeah.
Just everything all at once.
Everything all at once, and it didn't look good, and it didn't flow well, and just the tone of this whole movie is just off. Like, in terms of if it's going to be serious or what the storyline's going to be. Even when they try to attempt meta humor, it's bad.
they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that.
They literally did. So... And just so you all know, there is one post-credit scene.
There is, which we will definitely be discussing in the reactions.
Yep.
In the Rotten, because I have questions for him, because I don't really know what it is.
And I'll be happy to answer them.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we're good on this reaction. Anything else?
J-Law, please stop.
I mean, yeah. Well,
you're America's sweetheart, but it's time for you to move on.
We'll talk about more.
But Fassbender, McAvoy, please stay. And bring back Matthew Vaughn, please, to do another X-Men.
I was going to say, we'll talk about that more in the Rotten, just because those two guys are good. And there's definitely good in this movie. Yeah. Like, it's not terrible. It's not put together well, but it's not the worst thing ever. So, yeah.
It's not Last Stand, so it's got that going for it.
It does. So now it's at least number 5 on the X-Men.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyway, my name's Dan.
I'm Eric.
And we're the Ahoys. Thanks for listening. And ramble on.
Ramble on.